Welcome to our session on Gen AI and the AWS Marketplace for the US intelligence community. My name is Brianna Tucci, and I am the ICMP lead here at AWS. And we'll be talking a lot more about what ICMP is and how it can benefit organizations like yours later on in this session. In fact, we have a lot to cover together today. Here are a few of the highlights ahead. It's day one at reInvent. Welcome to Vegas, by the way. And it's never too soon to start talking about Gen AI. So I'm going to kick things off with an overview about how Gen AI is transforming the way that the public sector delivers to its citizens, and the role that AWS is playing to promote and accelerate that transformation and growth. After that, I'll be handing it over to Master Sergeant Will Haskell from the US Space Force, who will describe how he has used ICMP to procure and deploy Gen AI applications to support his government missions. Then you'll be hearing from my colleague Christine Williams, and she'll be sharing with you how organizations like yours can either sell or procure and deploy third-party software solutions and services via AWS Marketplace, and how together we are working to improve procurement transformation for global AWS customers, including in the public sector. And lastly, I'll be doing a deep dive on ICMP and inviting on stage with me Mr. Orville Phelps from the US government for a little Q&A about how he has used ICMP to streamline procurement for his organization and ensure that his organization is able to save time and resources. At the end, we'll be sure to save time for Q&A. So jot your questions down as we go along, because we'd love to hear from you. Gen AI has taken the world by storm, because for the first time ever, each and every one of us, including you and me, are able to experience just how powerful machine learning models have become, thanks to consumer-facing applications that run on AWS. Let's take a step back for a moment and review the basics. Generative AI is a type of AI that can create new content and ideas, such as stories, conversations, images, and even videos and music. And like all AI, Gen AI is powered by large machine learning models. But Gen AI is powered by extremely large models that are pre-trained on vast amounts of data, commonly referred to as foundation models. And by leveraging these foundation models and Gen AI, we can all create new ideas and communicate knowledge in new ways, thus mapping complex inputs to complicated outputs. Today, we stand at the cusp of a technological revolution that promises to transform the way that the public sector delivers to its citizens. Gen AI is a powerful tool that can be used to improve citizen services, enhance national security, and streamline government operations at all levels, thus increasing efficiency and reducing taxpayer dollars. Imagine, if you will, a government that can provide 24/7 services to its citizens. A government that can predict and prevent national security threats. And a government that can optimize resource allocation in the middle of natural disasters to better serve the victims of hurricanes like Helene and Milton. And finally, imagine a government that can draft and analyze legislation in record speed and with accuracy. This is not science fiction. This is the potential that Gen AI brings to the public sector. Now, the industries and verticals that Gen AI has the potential to impact is truly infinite. But on the screen, you can see 5 examples as they specifically relate to the public sector. In the interest of time, I'd like to explore 2 of these examples with you and share some further examples to demonstrate tangible benefits to our citizens, communities, and country. Let's start with the state and local government levels. At the state and local levels, Gen AI has the potential to enhance local emergency response systems through predictive analytics. It can improve urban planning and development by simulating various development scenarios for the creation of parks and communities. It can also provide individualized lesson plans for students in public schools. And it can reduce bureaucratic bottlenecks for things like permitting processes, which I'm sure many of us have been frustrated with. Each of these examples show the tangible benefits that Gen AI can bring to our citizens at the state and local level. Now, for our next example, let's consider the federal government level, where the stakes are even higher. At the federal level, Gen AI has the potential to bolster our cybersecurity defenses through incident detection and response in real time. It can support military logistics and strategic planning. And it can aid in intelligence collection and analysis by combing through scores and scores of data, far too much information for any single individual to review on their own. And finally, at the federal level, Gen AI has the potential to even aid in diplomatic efforts through language processing and even cultural understanding. The national security implications alone make investing in Gen AI not only important, but imperative. And the federal government would agree. On October 24th of this year, the White House released a national security memorandum on artificial intelligence. This memo provides guidelines and requirements to federal agencies with the ultimate goal of ensuring that the United States remains a leader in AI development. And AWS is uniquely positioned to ensure that our federal customers are able to meet the requirements and guidelines set forth in this memo. For example, AWS provides the robust infrastructure that is required to build, deploy, and manage Gen AI applications on top of effectively. Additionally, AWS offers fully managed services like Amazon Bedrock, which provides customers with a choice of high-performing foundation models from leading AI companies through a single API, alongside a broad set of capabilities and tools that are required to develop, deploy, and manage Gen AI applications with security, privacy, and responsible AI. Further, AWS and ICMP in particular have partnered with companies like Palantir and Anthropic, both of whom joined the ICMP program earlier this year. And AWS has worked to ensure that our public sector customers have access and are able to use Claude 3 and Claude 3.5 in Palantir's AI platform that runs on AWS. Lastly, in meeting the memo's requirements for safe and responsible AI, AWS collaborated with the U.S. Institute on Artificial Intelligence and Safety Consortium at the National Institute for Standard and Technology earlier this year. In doing so, we helped to develop new measurement science for AI and continue to demonstrate how we promote the safe and responsible use of AI. Now let's go back to that robust infrastructure that I was talking about earlier, and let's explore exactly how we are working through our broad set of tools to bring you infrastructure that is needed to effectively manage Gen AI applications. For one, this infrastructure is available to our customers not only in our commercial AWS regions, but also in AWS GovCloud and even in the AWS secret and top secret regions. This cloud-based approach enables customers to ensure innovation and more agile responses to evolving government needs. Now, you can see on the screen 5 bullets of benefits, starting with scalability. Our elastic infrastructure allows customers to scale up and down depending on demand, thus maximizing performance and cost effectiveness. AWS's security features help to ensure that customers are able to meet stringent government compliance requirements. And we also offer our own native services and our partner services that run on AWS, thus giving our customers access to a broad set of tools with AI services and Gen AI applications. When it comes to storage, services like Amazon S3 and AWS Glue ensure that our customers are able to both store and process all of the data that is required to run these Gen AI applications. And lastly, when it comes to edge computing, which is so essential for those time-sensitive operations in defense and public safety, and need to ensure that the Gen AI applications are running close to the data source, AWS is there with our edge computing capabilities. Customers need to be able to develop, experiment, iterate, and pivot quickly. They want to be able to embrace today's latest and greatest machine learning and foundation models and immediately embrace whatever comes tomorrow. And that's where Amazon Bedrock comes in. Amazon Bedrock offers a fully managed service that provides our customers with a choice of high-performing foundation models from leading AI companies like Anthropic and Meta through a single API, alongside a broad set of tools and capabilities that are required to be able to run Gen AI applications with security, privacy, and responsible AI. And our customers have told us that one of the best features of Amazon Bedrock is how easy it makes selecting, experimenting with, and even combining foundation models. Indeed, we are making AWS the easiest place to build with foundation models. Thus, we are democratizing access to Gen AI for all customers. And the benefits of combining foundation models with AI services include improving trust through transparency and accuracy, achieving scale through enterprise-grade solutions, and measuring impact by determining the return on investment for your organization. However, integrating Gen AI applications into government workloads is not without challenges. When I talk to my customers, the #1 challenge that I hear about day in and day out is related to procurement. They ask me, how can I buy rights or licenses to that software or that Gen AI application? Which contract vehicle will I use? Indeed, it's true. Traditional software procurement is slow and cumbersome, ill-suited to the rapid pace of the cloud and AI development. Let's see a show of hands. If you're here representing an organization that sells to the public sector Or if you are a public sector customer that has procured software solutions or Gen AI applications, please raise your hand if it's taken you more than 6 months to procure that solution. Whew, most hands are raised. Now keep your hand up if it's taken you longer than 1 year. I don't think anyone lowered their hand. 1 year, by the time you get that software solution or that Gen AI model, it'll be outdated, extinct. The rapid pace of development in this world means that you need to gain access to these solutions faster. Our public sector customers, our national security missions, and our citizenry deserve that. Well, I have some good news for you. By leveraging existing cloud contract vehicles, our customers in the public sector can use AWS Marketplace and ICMP to more rapidly procure and deploy third-party software solutions and Gen AI applications. And after you hear from Will about how he achieved just that, using ICMP to more quickly procure and deploy a Gen AI application for his critical mission requirements, Christine will share more with you about how AWS Marketplace works, along with many of our latest launches and features from this year. But first, I'm excited to introduce to you Master Sergeant Will Haskell from the US Space Force, a longtime AWS Marketplace customer and ICMP proponent. Come on stage, Will. We're so glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us in Vegas.
Thanks, Brianna. Let me just start off by caveating the fact that I am not an acquisitions professional, I'm not a trained program manager or software developer, software engineer. I am an intelligence analyst by trade, have been for the past 15 years or so, and I just managed to wiggle my way into an assignment in a research and development lab within the intelligence community, where I am consistently the dumbest guy in the room, and I have a permanent line in my forehead because I make this face all the time. With my background, back with the ChatGPT explosion, I kind of had this thought that I think a lot of people did with regard to retrieval augmented generation. For those of you who are uninitiated, the search and data discovery options that we have available to us in the classified regions are fairly outdated. They're not good. We'll just leave it at that. I thought, well, if we leverage this retrieval augmented generation, we could maybe get some sort of parity with what the commercial industry has had for the past 2 decades and not have to use something like Alta Vista in 2024. Now with that, right, I am a hobbyist coder on my best day. I needed significant help to get this built. I couldn't do it on my own. I needed software, I needed professional services. And on top of that, I have no idea how acquisitions work. So I needed help on that side of the house. And that's where ICMP came in, allowed me to get the actual software licenses as well as professional services all bundled into one package very quickly and easily. And that's saying a lot for me because not much is easy for me. I'll get into exactly how quick and easy it was in just a minute. So on the right there, you'll see what everyone thinks that we do, who doesn't actually live in the community. And on the left is what I do most of the time when I'm trying to search the high side web for something that I don't know where it is. Right? We put a pretty large burden on analysts and intelligence community users to know exactly where this data that might be helpful to them resides. there's tons of data. We don't have a data problem. What we do have is a data discovery problem. And unless you know where that tool is or where that data set is, good luck finding it. So when searching for a solution for this, this was kind of these were my features that I needed from whatever vendor I was going to choose. It has to be air gap capable, obviously, because of where it's deployed. Model agnostic. I did not want to get tied into one specific model. I think with Guru, we've cycled through 7 or 8 open source models. Hopefully going to be delving into the proprietary models here soon. Deterministic and traceable. Those are 2 really big ones for us in particular, right? Like with many modern RAG systems, everything is cited to some piece of in-domain ground truth. Access limited, keep the security folks happy, obviously, so I don't get in trouble. Scalable, open, and configurable. This was essentially my wish list, and the vendor that we ended up selling on checked all the boxes, so got the ball rolling and kicked it off. So I'll show you a quick video of the actual application in action in our low side, unclassified environment, obviously. This is actually based on a real world scenario, but some names have been changed around. Some of you might know.
Today's demo will focus on a conflict involving 2 fictitious countries, Navonia and Aurelia, in the Cordian Sea region. I'm an intelligence analyst covering the Navonian-Aurelian War, with a specific focus on Navonian maritime activity in the region of Belvia. As I start my day, I receive a tasking to provide details on a recent maritime incident in the region. Without Guru, as an analyst, I would have to dig through numerous reports, files, and artifacts to find the information I need, which could take hours or even days. Instead, I use Guru to quickly find the answer. To start working on this task, I turn to our intelligence search source, Guru. I log into Guru and ask, was there a recent ship incident in the past 2 weeks? Guru returns an answer. The Navonian fuel ferry Cargo Spirit was destroyed at the port of Degas on August 22, 2024. I can click into the source documents to dive deeper into the reporting. I can also provide feedback to the Guru generative answers to note their quality. All captured feedback will be used to further tune the model in the future. With this initial insight, I dig deeper to find out what critical supplies the Cargo Spirit was carrying. In the side panel, I ask Guru, was the Cargo Spirit carrying anything at the time it was destroyed? Based on an all-source search, Guru returns that the Cargo Spirit was carrying 30 fuel tank cars at the time it was destroyed. Here in the side panel, we can also click into source documents to learn more. With this new context from Guru, I explore further and ask, does Navonia have any other operational fuel ferries? Guru returns an answer, stating the Cargo Spirit was the last remaining of 3 Navonian fuel ferries, with the other 2 having already been destroyed. Guru also links to source documents from a foundational military intelligence data source that notes the ship's capabilities. I take a step back to understand the broader significance of what is happening, and I ask Guru, what is the geopolitical significance of the Cargo Spirit being destroyed? Guru returns an answer based on recent reporting. Navonia's logistical and operational capabilities in Belvia are being degraded, which could risk escalating tensions between Navonia and Aurelia. Guru also summarizes the strategic implications of the incident and links to a recent intelligence estimate that discusses the broader geopolitical significance of the event. While conducting this analysis, I just received a request to pinpoint exactly when and where the Cargo Spirit was destroyed. To do this, I assess its last known location using geospatial and broadcast data. I ask Guru, show me surface tracks over the past month. Guru, employing a specialized geospatial agent drawing from AIS data, provides information on the Cargo Spirit's most recent shipborne broadcasts. This information is visualized on a map, and the tabular data is available for download, empowering me to conduct an in-depth analysis of performance capabilities against collection. Upon review of the retrieved AIS data and the map, I can see the Cargo Spirit was docked at the port of Degas on August 22nd, when its transponder stopped functioning. This confirms and corroborates the reporting I reviewed so far that indicates when and where the Cargo Spirit, an operationally vital fuel ferry for Navonia, has indeed been destroyed.
All right, so I think that's pretty cool. But Operates very similarly in the region that it's currently deployed. Getting a little bit more technical with our kind of unique approach to retrieval augmented generation. One of the problems that I went into this program with was the intelligence community stores a lot of things in the cloud and on-prem, but a lot of times we store the same piece of data 2, 3, 4, 27 times over, and the US government is paying for all of that storage. So with Guru, we wanted to not add to that problem. So to the largest extent possible, we don't house or store any data. We work with the data where it is when we need it, combining traditional API calls with vectorization or embedding on the fly, and kind of bringing all of those disparate data sources together to formulate an overall AI-generated response, potentially pointing users to data sources or tools that they did not know about previously. One of the features that we're about to roll out, I wanted to get some multimodal flavor in here, right? So being able to ask questions against returned imagery, right? I am a signals analyst by trade, and pictures scare me, so this was very necessary for me in particular. Getting back to kind of the speed thing, right? This doesn't really do it much justice, but this all started with a white paper that I wrote when I was sleep deprived on paternity leave. Floated the idea around, and a couple months later, we had a contract signed via ICMP, butts in seats, getting to work. Now, in that time between January and May, a lot of stuff was going on. I was doing a kind of a market canvas to see what vendors we wanted to look at. I also learned about ICMP, and then I went straight to my legal team and said, is this legit? Because frankly, I didn't believe what AWS was telling me. It sounded kind of not kosher with what I knew about acquisitions at the time. I got an email, so I was in the clear from legal saying, you're good to go. That was good enough for me. So finally, if there's one thing I want to leave you with as part of my talk here is ICMP put the end user, me, closer to the requirements, acquisitions, and development process of a solution than was previously possible through traditional acquisitions and procurement. That's all I have. Thank you very much. I'll introduce Christine Williams from the AWS Marketplace team. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Will. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Williams. I'm a product manager at AWS Marketplace. And I want to spend a little bit more time talking about that tool that Will was using. So ICMP is what they're referring to it as. It's a version of AWS Marketplace that's been designed for the intelligence community. So we're going to spend a number of minutes here talking about what AWS Marketplace is and how it actually goes about making software procurement more simple for you. Simple is an often used word when it comes to software procurement. I won't make you all raise your hands again, but I know there are some of you out there that are really suffering. It can take a really long time. It's because there's so many parts of this puzzle. There's RFPs, there's contracts, there's security risk assessments, there's invoice tracking. I could keep going, and I know the slide will. There's a myriad of administrative governance and compliance processes that are put in place around public sector software procurement. And those are necessary, but they do encumber the speed that cloud was designed to deliver and that y'all need, particularly when it comes to your AI roadmap. So how can we simplify this? How can we modernize the software supply chain so that your access to software is much more simple and much more expedient? Well, the first part of that equation is going to be making it easier and faster for you to find, evaluate, purchase, and deploy software. But that's not the only part of the equation, because when it comes to public sector, there are those well-intentioned guardrails and constraints like the federal acquisition process. So you also have to balance that speed with governance, really strong governance around all of your compliance processes so that developers can gain a permission and approval to find, buy, test, and start using software. And that's where AWS Marketplace comes in, is with helping you find that balance, helping you stay really tightly aligned with compliance while also getting that speed. So what is AWS Marketplace? Well, our mission is to transform the way that enterprises worldwide find, subscribe to, deploy, and govern software, data, and also professional services. That's an ambitious mission statement, so I'm going to break it down into a couple of the core categories and talk about how exactly we do that. Let's start with find. When you realize that your organization has a problem you need to solve or an opportunity to enhance it, you need to understand what all's out there. What could you be purchasing? You want to know what your options are. And you need them from vendors that you trust. With AWS Marketplace, we have over 20,000 public listings available, all in a centralized catalog for you to be able to browse through. And when you're looking to learn more about a product, we also offer product description, support information, evaluation information, price information, the things that you might need to understand if it's the right product for you. You even can try a free trial at this point. When you're ready to purchase it, we make it faster by giving you flexibility. You can choose to pay upfront pricing, or you can choose pay as you go. You could also choose to negotiate with your seller a set of custom terms, or to really speed things up, you can go with a standard contract. Next, we have deployment. With AWS Marketplace, you get easy, fast, and secure deployment. One of my favorite examples of what we've launched to make this easier is called SaaS Quick Launch. From a couple years ago, we were seeing that our buyers were really languishing when it got to this part of procurement, where particularly with some of the security types of SaaS products, they take a lot of setup. They take integrations and authorizations and account setup. And so with SaaS Quick Launch, we offer more of a guided workflow to get that set up with some pre-configured CFT templates to make it go much faster for resource deployment. And then finally, there's governance, really the key word when it comes to public sector. We offer governance capabilities across the full procurement cycle. So going back to when you're starting to find a product, you can actually set up a private marketplace for your organization, and that's going to be a unique catalog for you that can only include pre-approved vendors. So that way you can give your developers access to it and let them go crazy. Also, a lot of our governance comes post-procurement. So we have license tracking and management, and we also have vendor insights, which is a tool that's used to monitor the security posture of anything that you've purchased, keeping a tight eye on your portfolio. I want to dig a little bit deeper into the options for how you purchase AWS Marketplace. Back in the day, one of the original ideas for a marketplace was that it would be really similar to Amazon.com. Click a button, click through a few pages, bada boom, bada bing, you've procured software. But over time, we've listened to our customers and realized just how much value is added to procurement when you layer in the sellers themselves and channel partners and all the ways that people like to buy. So in addition to self-service, which is still available in Marketplace today, we also have seller private offers. And that's important when it comes to public sector because it allows you to set custom terms and negotiate those with the seller. And then there's also channel partner private offers. There are many customers that have these long-standing trusted relationships with a channel partner, and they really prefer to funnel all of their procurement through them. And so that's why we launched CPPO, Channel Partner Private Offers. So the point I'm making here is that AWS Marketplace allows you to have those direct relationships with ISVs and with channel partners, while also consolidating the billing and management with AWS. Let's talk about some of the numbers. This slide gets updated every year and is just growing and growing. AWS Marketplace has been live for about 12 years now. And in over a decade, you can really see how much the scale has become vast and global. We're at over 20,000 public listings with a huge variety in our catalog that's across 70 different categories or types of software from over 5,000 partners. And we're also continuing to launch in new regions. And these do include for our public sector some of those favorite regions like GovCloud, US Secret, and US Top Secret regions. And this is only continuing to grow. So I'm making the point that we make software procurement more simple and easier for our customers, but does it really work? Well, Forrester looked into it a couple years ago and interviewed a number of our customers. And what they found was a 75% reduction in onboarding efforts for new vendors, 66% time savings due to procurement efficiencies, and a 10% drop in licensing costs due to licensing flexibility. Now, those are pretty impressive numbers, and I bet many of you are in this room today because you do have an ambitious Gen AI strategy on the books for the next coming years. Take a moment to imagine what could these numbers actually do to impact your roadmap. How much faster or how much savings could you have? Like the rest of AWS, AWS Marketplace is customer obsessed, and we have a pretty good launch velocity. Up on my screen are just a selection of some of the launches that we've launched this past year, really since past reInvent. I won't have time to go through all of them today, unfortunately, but I want to highlight a couple that I think would be interesting to public sector customers. First, Omni Instance Portability. So if you have purchased an Omni, this means that if you need to adjust the size or type, you can do so with a quick edit. You do not have to actually restart the subscription. Big time saver. There's also now the option to request a demo or a private offer. So this is directly from the page where you're learning about the product, you're deciding if you want to take that next step, and if you want to start to get in contact with that seller, you can do so directly from one of our pages. Request a demo or request a private offer. And since it is reInvent, there's going to be a number more coming this week. Do keep an eye out for those. There are some very exciting ones on both our buyer and our seller sides. Okay, up on my screen are some of the logos of just some of the trusted partners that currently have Gen AI offerings available on AWS Marketplace today. And some of these are even available on ICMP. So I'm going to invite Brianna back up on stage to talk more about ICMP. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Great job. All right, now comes the AWS Marketplace for the US intelligence community. My favorite part. There we go. As we observe our government customers embarking on these massive cloud migrations, we see it happening more and more at higher and higher classification levels. And that means that now, customers not only need to deploy software solutions and Gen AI applications in their unclassified cloud environments like commercial AWS and AWS GovCloud, they also now need to deploy these same software solutions and Gen AI applications in their air-gapped regions, like Will was referring to. These air-gapped networks have no connectivity to the internet, yet they still offer a secure, full cloud environment for certain government customers at specific classification levels. However, we know that our customers experience procurement and provisioning challenges in these air-gapped regions. And for that reason, we launched the ICMP program. Like Christine mentioned, ICMP delivers a version of our AWS Marketplace service to certain government customers in specific air-gapped regions. And with ICMP, we innovate alongside customers like Will and Orville, who you'll hear from in a few minutes, to ensure that our customers have access to the most cutting-edge solutions in their air-gapped regions. Over the years, we've also heard stories from our customers about these hard and heavy lifts, trying to move software into these air-gapped regions by first downloading the software, then sneaker netting it through their agencies, and then pushing it up over the fence into the high side. And to alleviate the burden that our customers go through this time-consuming, challenging process, we've established a system with ICMP whereby we vet, scan, and test the software, and then move it over into the customer's air-gapped regions for them using AWS Diode. And in doing so, we are expanding the set of tools and capabilities that our customers in air-gapped regions have access to. Here is a list of our ICMP catalog. We have AWS Partners in ICMP from multiple different categories, including security and networking, to data management, and of course, AI and ML. And we even have vendors that are listed under professional security and professional services categories that are able to also deliver Gen AI solutions to their customers, like BTI 360 and Qvine. Each of the partners that are listed in ICMP have been programmatically vetted by the government for foreign ownership, control, and influence. And so we work with the government to ensure that the partners that we bring in region meet the government's stringent compliance requirements. We've also aligned ICMP with existing cloud contract vehicles, thus ensuring that our customers have a seamless, streamlined way to procure from these vendors. And we've learned that, like Christine was talking about, channel partners such as Carahsoft, ClearShark, and August Shell help to accelerate adoption. And I'm pleased to share with you that as of this year, the ICMP program is not only available in the AWS Top Secret region, it is now also available in the AWS Secret region. Additionally, as of this year, we now have a program that enables our ICMP partners to sell and deliver their professional services through ICMP. At this time, I'd like to invite on stage with me Mr. Orville Phelps, a senior program manager from the US government, who's going to share with you a little bit more about how he has used ICMP to streamline his organization's access, come on up, Orville, to third-party software solutions and save the government time and resources. Orville, thanks so much for joining us. It's so great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Orville, to start off, can you give our audience a little bit of information about your background and your role? What is it that you do for the government?
Well, my job is principally as a program manager. I'm also a contracting officer's technical representative, the nice long title there. I've been doing IT work for a long time, as you can tell from here, and a lot of that's been with the government. I've had government service for about 33 years. I finally did the math. And a lot of my work recently has been focused on cybersecurity and on seeing how can we respond more rapidly to what we need, because everything changes so quickly. How can we move?
Fantastic. Well, thank you for all of those years of your government service. How long in that time frame have you been working alongside Amazon Web Services?
Well, Amazon Web Services, I remember when C2S started and came in. I was part of the program with that, working on the real technical side. So I was doing program management of search and discovery type stuff. How do we find information? Then I went away for a while, still overseeing some of that, but then I came back and they said, hey, we have some of these cool things, and got pulled into more contracting stuff. I'm an IT guy. All the IT people know that being pulled into contracting is no fun. So most recently, I've been doing a lot more of contracting type work and helping our technical teams do a lot more in that area.
That's great. Orville, do you remember the first time that you heard about ICMP?
So I was working this, I hadn't heard about it, and I had a guy come up and say, hey, we want to get this thing. Have you heard of this thing called ICMP? And I looked at him and was like, well, what are you talking about? It sounds like a disease. And he came and said, like, no, there's this new way that we can get some things. It's like, oh, great, tell me more about it. And he said, yeah, I've got this guy over here. Isn't that how most of it works? We've got this guy. Got this guy over here, let him tell you about it. So I went on to it and started finding out, well, what is it? And dug into it and turned out, this is great. There's so many things that we can use it for, so let's see what it takes to bring it in.
So going back to ICMP, what is it? For the audience members here who maybe hadn't heard about AWS Marketplace or ICMP before today, how would you describe it to them?
Well, it's obviously not the end-all to everything, but it's a wonderful tool. One of the things that we've really been able to do with it, because we've started small, is we're going through and trying to understand it. I work with the executive agent for the contract to figure out how can we do this, what can we do. We've been able to bring in services much quicker than normal. Go out and find, we need something. I saw the hands earlier where we talked about how long's it been for you to take things. It's really scary when people say it's been over a year. With the things that I've been piloting, I've been able to show things that went from what would have normally taken us a couple months to a few weeks as we refine the process and figure out how to make this work, because it streamlines so much of what we do. One of our catchphrases that we've come up with is, speed of survival in our business. So this has shown that we can truly speed up our process to get the things that we really need to get.
Absolutely. Speed is survival. So happy to hear that ICMP is helping you to achieve that. Now, I know that you can't share with us the exact products that you've bought off of ICMP, but can you shed some light into the general categories of the types of tools that you're using off of ICMP?
Some of it's been, development stuff. Everybody does software development. That's what we have fun. We've had security products. We've had things that we've gone out, experimental things where we could pull in something just a little. The greatest thing that we've had with it, we could either do a little or do a lot, but by using ICMP, particularly when, as it was mentioned, you had that little private offer piece. The private offer piece has really allowed us to customize exactly what it is we need, because a standard piece of software or a standard agreement, it's like, that's great, but we have a very unique mission. So with what we need to do, being able to go out and work through the marketplace with the vendors and this is what we need. Let us try this. Help us with this so that we can achieve our mission. That's been the greatest thing we've been able to leverage on all of this.
Fantastic. Now, Orville, last question. If there are any contracting officers or COTARs or other procurement officials either in the room or perhaps watching online, what advice would you give to them about ICMP?
ICMP is very interesting, and you dig into it, it's not as complicated as you think it is. We always think if we're dealing with a complex contract, it's like you have these 300 steps. Part of what I've been doing with the executive agent on the contract has been to help figure out what does everybody need, how do we standardize it? How can everybody leverage this and get from I need this product to I've got it installed in mission now? And it's coming, it's there. It's amazing that the government can actually move quickly when people are interested and dedicated to get it done. So, don't lose hope. We can leverage this and make it there and expect great things from it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Orville. Great having you here with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. As we look ahead to next steps, I encourage all of you to use the QR code on the far left for getting started with Amazon Bedrock. Additionally, for those independent software vendors, channel partners, and data and service providers who are in the room today and not yet on AWS Marketplace, use that QR code in the middle, which will help you get started with your registration and listing of your first products and services. And for our customers in the room, if you would like to explore more of the complete catalog of partners available in AWS Marketplace, the QR code on the far right will pull up for you those partners with AI ML solutions. And customers, stay with me another moment. I want to talk with you about specific things that you and I can work on together in the immediate future and how we can help to improve your procurement and deployment journey, especially in air-gapped networks. Do you remember this slide with our ICMP partners? If you see a logo from a company on this slide that you're interested in, perhaps you would like to meet with, see a demo, or learn more information, let me know. You can reach out to us anytime at icmp@amazon.com, and our contact information will remain up on the slide at the end. Additionally, if you are already working with one of the vendors on this slide, I would still love to hear from you to figure out if, come time for your renewal of that software subscription, perhaps we could work together to streamline the renewal through ICMP. And lastly, if you feel like there's a vendor missing from this page, perhaps there's a specific solution that you wish was available in ICMP, then definitely reach out. We always want to grow and enhance our ICMP catalog, and we need your guidance to do so. We want to hear feedback from you about the types of companies and services and solutions and Gen AI applications that you want to bring into ICMP, and working with our customers helps to streamline and speed up the availability of those solutions in our ICMP catalog. Now, going back to our independent software vendors, channel partners, and data and service providers in the room for a moment. If you want help with your listing in ICMP, or if you want to join the ICMP program, make sure that you already have a listing in AWS Marketplace, as that is the first step. That is the initial requirement. And I've pulled back up here that QR code for getting started with AWS Marketplace. Now, once you're in AWS Marketplace with a public listing, then go ahead and reach out to us, because we'd love to get started with you on next steps for joining ICMP. And lastly, for everyone in the room, please do remember to take the session survey. Your feedback is very valuable to us. If you can't tell, we are all very excited about what we're doing with AWS Marketplace and ICMP to support our customers, our national security missions, and our AWS partners. This is the type of innovation that we need to streamline government services, save taxpayer dollars, and get Gen AI applications off the ground and running for our public sector agencies. Thank you so much for joining us today for our session on Gen AI and ICMP.